Jiro here for Umbra Games with a review of State of Decay, Year 1 Survival Edition on Xbox One. State of Decay was originally released on Xbox 360 in June of 2013, then through Steam Early Access in September of the same year, before finally being ported to Xbox One as a Survival Edition, which includes 2 DLC packs, on April 28, 2015. The sequel, State of Decay 2, released May 22, 2018. State of Decay puts you in the shoes of a survivor who just came in from a camping trip on the lake to find the campground ravaged with zombies. You can pretty quickly find a community to join and help scavenge supplies, defend the perimeter, and help out other members. The main goal being survival amongst the growing packs of undead and ultimately escape from this fictional area known as Trumbull Valley. The game takes place in third person over the shoulder, and melee combat will be your go-to in most situations. You can find a variety of weapons in the environment falling into edged, blunt, and heavy categories. You sprint or swing a weapon, you'll see your blue stamina bar deplete. When it's gone, you can still perform actions, just much more slowly. If you strike a zombie enough with your regular attack, they'll usually fall to the ground where you can perform a finishing move, bashing in their head. You can drive any vehicle you find across the world. Conveniently, everyone left their keys in them. They're also a great, but slightly more noisy way of taking out your foes. Zombies will often cling to your car, and if they're on your driver's door, you can beat them with it. Otherwise, slamming your brakes to knock them off the hood or the back end, or brushing structures to peel them off works as well. You can also obtain firearms and ammo in your scavenging, and of course, performing headshots are the best. Genre staples like Molotov cocktails are also present, and a few other forms of grenades. After using a character for a while, they'll get winded, meaning their max stamina depletes. Take too much damage also, you'll be staggered, and if you don't press A quickly enough, can be killed. Every time your HP or vitality, as they call it, drops to 0, that maximum will also drop. Once that gets too low, you'll lose your survivor. Anything they're carrying can be recovered from their corpse. To restore the hurt to max levels, you can often switch to another survivor in your community, assuming they're not on a mission or otherwise busy. The more you use a character, the more experience they gain in various stats, increasing their cardio skill, for example, which raises their max stamina. Specializing a character in a specific melee weapon and leveling that up can give you access to additional moves as well. There's a base building element in State of Decay, and that any location you choose to take as your home can have structures built and enhanced. To make improvements, you have to find materials. As you break into various locations, you'll see white glowing pieces of furniture or boxes that can be searched, which takes a few moments, so you have to watch your environment pretty carefully. You find materials, instead of going into your limited inventory like other things do, they'll fill a rucksack on your character's back, increasing weight and stamina depletion. You can only carry one full rucksack at a time, but you can take that rucksack and place it in the trunk of a car to help with big gathering runs. There's fuel, food, medical supplies, and construction materials with counters showing you totals you can see in your home or in the home menu. To build structures, you use up on the D-pad to access your inventory, your journal and stuff, as well as the blueprints of your home where you make those commands. Different facilities can also be activated to provide services, like the radio tower sending out messages to help you locate a particular resource or more survivors, and the kitchen can be used to cook a big meal to boost vitality, etc. As far as quest and mission content goes, there are 3 or 4 quest lines that can be followed. It was difficult to tell if all of them were required to actually progress in the main story or not. There's very much a random element to this game, meaning you load once, you'll have an enclave of survivors in a particular house, and the next time you won't. The quest beginnings also seem to come randomly, with sometimes multiple in-game days passing before you get radioed about your next quest. It's quite possible this occurs because the developers wanted you to focus on the survival aspect of the game, and giving you access to the quest content could make you fly through the game a bit too quickly. To fill that empty time on top of scavenging, you'll have repetitive menial tasks. Someone will get angry at your community and you'll have to pick them up and take them to, quote, kill zombies the old-fashioned way, whatever that's supposed to mean, which for me generally meant running them over in my vehicle for them. Different enclaves will ask for help with the perimeter defense, which usually felt like sitting in a house, boarding windows, and killing a random number of zombies that happen to break in until an uncounted, inordinate amount of time passed. Sometimes your people will be out on missions and get stuck somewhere and you have to go to their location and eliminate the zombies around them. Other times they'll have a mission to kill a special type of zombie and need your help to do it. I think aside from the frequency, the annoying part about these missions is that there really isn't any reward. If you don't help someone, your base will lose a little bit of morale, but picking up a rucksack of supplies seem to almost always offset that. I never lost a survivor to one of these missions, and maybe that happens in a more difficult setting. There are 3 different city areas, and a lot of countryside in between. Driving 5 minutes just to save another survivor, for no other reason than to lose a few morale points though, just never seemed worth it. You can trade with other enclaves, and completing their missions builds trust as well. But supplies were generally fairly easy to come by, and if you turned off the game for a day, a lot of the game's mechanics seemed to still run, as I booted up to pretty much all other enclaves I knew about being dead and gone. So if you plan on not sitting there for 15 hours straight and playing the game, I don't quite see what building the trust with other enclaves is good for. It is pretty neat that you can pack up your home base and move as you advance in different areas. You can also set up outposts that help with an influx of materials, like setting up an outpost in a fast food restaurant will give you food resources. Not sure I ever really got a handle though on what consumed what resources, and I just played the game in normal mode, so maybe there are fewer problems that way. But aside from wanting to build upgrades that gave my people a 20% chance to get over sickness faster, or a workshop to manufacture a few Molotovs, I'm not sure I saw the benefits of the building either. Which is kind of sad, because this is the closest thing I've felt in a video game to watching an episode of The Walking Dead. State of Decay's currency system is also pretty neat. You have storage lockers in your home and other enclaves that you can place things into and gain influence. You can also take out items using that influence, setting up a pretty cool barter system. Now with your home, a lot of times there may not be too much more than what you put in the first place, but if you have one character typically equipped with a shotgun, you can dump the shells you find from another survivor into it. Influence is also another resource used to make improvements at your home base, and is also spent to claim outposts. The initial tutorials in this game are pretty lacking. In fact, I started over after my first hour or so when I had lost my main survivor I'd been playing. I tried to use the new menu to switch characters, and no one had switch by their name. Only after restarting and trying a second time did I see I could somehow switch to that person through conversation at the home base. It was kind of unclear. Also, the limited number of outposts and what their full functions are was really hard to see. There was text that would pop up on the screen sometimes while you were doing things, but it seemed there was usually some type of action going on when it did, and it was hard to read all that and stay alive. This was originally a 360 game, so I won't judge the graphics too harshly. The animations, however, when zombies aggro you, it's like there's no transition cycle in animation for them to do so. They just kind of switch abruptly to attack animation, which looks pretty jarring. Also had many terrain collision issues with them, as they'd sometimes just walk through doors. In one particular defense story mission, some fell through the front porch where I couldn't make contact with them, but they kept attacking the windows and breaking down my barriers. I had to wait for my AI companions firing once a minute or so to finish them off. The zombie pop-in also brought some frustration, as you could clear a house, walk out to the back shed, and then step back in the house, and 2 more would be waiting for you. I guess this does add to the difficulty, but whatever. The Xbox One Year 1 edition does include the main game and 2 additional DLC. The first DLC hits more on the part I enjoyed of the game, getting that community started with smaller quest goals of getting out of the valley. You select a survivor to start with and get scored on various aspects of the game in increasingly difficult scenarios. The other piece is called Lifeline, where you play from the military's point of view and attempt to keep groups of survivors alive long enough to get them evacuated. Both of these modes contribute to the game's main 10 to 12 hour campaign, giving it a bit more replay value. Overall, a lot of the mechanics of the game were very neat in concept, but just lacked a little bit in execution. Swapping survivors gave you a reason to protect your survivors as much as possible. The community building was a fun idea that just lacked some tangible mechanics and consequences. Animations were a bit jarring. Graphics were definitely just not up to Xbox One par. Randomness of quest initialization could leave you feeling like you're missing something, but this is the closest game I've played so far to feeling true survival in a zombie apocalypse. And it definitely had that something that just kept me playing. It just left me wanting more than what was there. Rated as an open-world mission procedural game, State of Decay hits just above the 50 average of 54 out of 100 on my true 0 to 100 scale. This is Jiro from Umbra Games. Thanks for watching.